This is all fucked up. Hang on.
Good evening.
There we go. That's my second one. Because the first one was muted. I will never learn not to unmute my microphone. I don't know what it is. Yeah, it was a bit of a gremlin going on there. For some reason, it wouldn't switch to the intro. I worked all morning on that bloody intro, so by God, I was going to make sure it played.
You're going to play it again, yeah. I'm glad you did that, because as that first playing of the intro happened, I stubbed my toe quite badly on the table with it. So I'm glad you had to play it a second time. Gave me a bit more recovery time before we went live.
Stubbed the toe. Gosh, that's like a mortal wound sometimes. That's one of the worst things ever, isn't it?
Oh, it's horrific, especially with their feet as well. But yeah, apart from that, I'm all good. Hope you enjoyed.
Did it play twice or once?
Yeah. It played twice. Yeah.
It played twice.
Yeah. Oh. Not the 4-minute intro, the 43-second one.
Well, you got a double dose
of it. The 4-minute one nearly played twice.
Listen, it's a hot day. People, machines and humans and everyone's suffering. Even the computers are feeling it.
So, ghost in the machine, yeah.
Hot ghost, a fucking sweaty ghost in the machine.
Well, yeah, this is it. We're in the UK where everyone just complains about the weather. I was going to say to you earlier when we were backstage, like I get so tired of people just always moaning about like, it's too hot, it's too hot.
I know, me too, though. I know, man. I mean, I was moaning
when we
backstage.
Get to October, it's like it's too cold. It's too.
I know. Well, yeah, but at least we can't moan about. At least we know we've had a summer. I mean, that's one of the things about not great things. One of the things about England is we usually get 2-3 days of summer, and it's usually sort of without. Then the rest of the year is just a frigging slog to Christmas.
This is what I was saying.
We'll have something a bit better, but this year and last year we've had fucking quality summers. So hot summers. So
this is what I was saying to people at work. I was saying to them, look, we're nearly in the middle of July. We might only have about 6 weeks of summer left this year, really. So just bloody enjoy it. Do you know what I mean? It's like we're not hitting 47, 48 degrees. We're not Qatar. It's all good, man. Just enjoy. But we're just very unadaptable. We're very bad at adapting, aren't we, in the UK?
When it is in Qatar and the hot countries, the Gulf and that, yeah. I mean, it's you couldn't survive. I mean, historically, those countries have had tiny populations. Even to this day, the UAE's only got like 1 million Emiratis and 9 million foreigners of various kinds.
Oh, I didn't realize it was that little. I didn't realize. Okay.
Yeah, it's surprising. It's it's a relatively large. Well, it's probably about. It's smaller than the half size of the UK, I guess, but it was not fit for human life for hundreds of years. I mean, they lived by the sea, and they would survive by fishing in the winter and farming in the summer, or the other way around. One of those, and date farming and fishing. But you got a lot of little oases in UAE because I lived there for about 7 years, and it's just, the oases are fantastic. And they're all cool, obviously. There's water pump flowing out the ground, and but the rest of it is just desert, and no human can live in that, right? So that's it. But with the age of electricity and AC, obviously you can live there. But if anything happened overnight, the place would be relatively uninhabitable. God, that's a flipping tricky one, isn't it? Uninhabitable.
When you were in Morocco, then what was like the sort of highs you would get there? Like 43?
By the coast, it's the Atlantic Ocean, so it was about 25. It wasn't that hot. The Atlantic coast isn't that hot when you hit that because there's a lot of fresh sea air and all the rest of it. About 25 degrees. It was maybe 30 degrees tops, but rarely hotter than 30 in Casablanca. But then in Fez and Marrakesh, in the desert, it's a lot warmer. But again, it's the dry heat in Egypt. I lived there in Morocco. You get a dry heat, which is actually quite bearable. It's really hot in the direct sun, but you could actually. I used to go to the pyramids in summer with like a black linen jacket, linen jacket on, and it wasn't too hot, but because of the dry heat. But this humid heat we get, everything's breaking apart. The train's getting cancelled. It's just like we can't. I guess it's like we're not used to this. It's like we're not used to these kind of temperatures.
It's the same thing that happens when we get snow in the winter, isn't it? Which, blessedly, thanks to global warming or something like that, we haven't had for a while. And this is, I'm pro a bit of global warming. The world's
off, police.
Can
you hear the police? I like living there like a big. Could you hear the police coming? I've got the window open because
I heard something briefly.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's just like an urban sort of soundscape, but that's what we're doing. It's gritty. This place, right? We're in a gritty truth podcast here with the police.
Well, listen, I'm in a gritty part of North.
They get me one of these days.
I'm in a gritty part of North London. I mean, down mainly sort of to the left of my flat, which is down more the ghetto ends. You hear the sirens a lot. You hear the helicopters as well. Like they'll wake you up at night, and you're thinking to yourself, those motherfuckers are circling around looking for someone, and they're looking for someone who's not a nice person probably, and they're going to be wandering around this fucking area. Hence, I can hear the helicopter.
They're looking for Lucy Connolly's again,
Well, they could. Well, that's it. They're probably just looking for someone who made a Facebook.
Have you ever seen it when they try and arrest like a criminal, like a genuine violent criminal on the streets of London?
They can't do it.
Suddenly, it's no longer like armed police response. It's suddenly the Keystone Cops, and it's a big fat woman falling over. Have you seen it? It's just unbelievable.
I've seen a lot of little clips. I actually literally saw one online today. There was a policeman. I think it was. I want to say like Leighton area, but I think it was kind of East London area basically. And he was just getting the piss taken out of him by these two guys. Eventually, he did manage to get his taser off, taser one of them, and then a load of locals kind of came in and helped. But like
the policeman or help the criminal?
Helped the policeman. So it was a bunch of do-good locals, not like friends of the criminals. But
I've often seen it when like the locals turn on the police and suddenly there's a gang and then the police like abandon, they just abandon the scene. They're like running away. But it's funny how they've always got enough numbers when it comes to like a middle-aged old woman. There's about 10 armed police at the door, isn't it? And it's just
they turn up.
You can complain to you blue in the face. I just don't know anymore.
What was there was another one like that recently. There was a guy who turned up. He says he's like, "You've not broken the law, but it could be offensive what you're saying." And I can't think what I should have bloody bookmarked it. Did you? Do you?
No, what do they call it? A non-criminal. What do they call that? An intervention or something?
I swear he was at a pub or something. This guy, and then this policeman turned up. I think he had like a beard. This policeman. I don't know if you saw the clip, and he was just kind of like. He was saying that you haven't broken the law, but we've seen some posts of yours and they could be considered offensive. So we just want to warn you in future to like think about how you're phrasing things. Fucking craziness. It's madness. Can you imagine being at a
12,000 a year arrested? I mean, as Rupert Lowe, as we discussed, he's appeared on Joe Rogan. That was dropped, as they say today. And they quote the figures. Joe Rogan can't believe that 12,000 people are arrested in the UK every year for typing things into a computer, literally just sharing their views about a situation that the government has deliberately created, and the people are reacting. You're not allowed to react to the tyranny You're not allowed to complain. It's once you complain about what the government are doing to your children, that's it. You get a visit by the old boys in blue, yeah, or the big fat women in blue most of the time, isn't it? The ethnically diverse. Anyway,
that's it. You'll get visited by an ethnically diverse and fairly incompetent police squad.
Yeah, usually when you see it, yeah. But then the big lads who turn up at the when it's about policing, white folks or whatever, it's the big lads. But then when it's the other element of society that's acting up, it's the sort of deploy the Keystone Karens, so they can just flop around and tumble around and get pushed over. I mean, the thing is, the police are going to have the shit end of the stick, because it's what they call creating a stick for their own back, because the less respect the police have among the ethnic minorities, which is what's happening, they're gonna know that they can take the piss, and unfortunately, it's going to get worse for the police, not just for us, but the police themselves are going to be victims of immigrant violence eventually. They already are. I mean, we saw that lady had her nose broken at the airport by that Pakistan gentleman. But yeah. So
did you see there was another one a few days ago that was a bit like the Noviak? Sorry, I can't remember his surname situation.
Henry Novak, yeah?
Yeah, it was a bit like that, because there was, thankfully the dude didn't die, but it was in Birmingham. I don't know if you saw it. Let me see if I can find a little link to it.
I think I saw that. Yeah, I did see that.
They arrested like 4 or 5 black lads attacking him, and he was just swinging, just trying to get out of it, and he hit a police officer who was a woman, and she arrested him, and the lads ran off. And now, after the backlash, Birmingham police finally, literally today it was, I think, have come out. This is like 5-6 days later. Have come out and said, "Oh yeah, we're looking for these guys who attacked it." Like, right, okay, cool, thanks for that. It's now
they're not looking that hard, are they?
It's now a week later, and like you say, if that had been that if that had been that lad, like posting something on Facebook, Twitter, they would have been within fucking 5 hours. Do you know what I mean? So it's just madness. But then they have the gall to deny the 2-tier policing. It's clear as day. It's like with anything in life, isn't it? You have to watch what they do, not what they say. And yeah, they can say all they want, but we can see the evidence. This is the problem they have. People have phones. They can record things now. You imagine the amount of shit they used to get away with, but now everyone's able to just within a couple of seconds whip out a phone and record it. So
I can see them enacting some legislation, maybe on the back of the latest legislation that I alluded to in the intro, that they are clamping down on alternative sources of news. So everything that they're doing that with YouTube in the UK, aren't they? They're going to prioritize BBC and the mainstream media. So they're going to be pushing the official lies. And the UK government in June new legislation which will make anything. If you get information from so-called like enemy governments like Russia, I mean, RT is already blocked by YouTube as such, but if there's any news from other countries that isn't officially sanctioned by the UK, you commit a criminal offence just by receiving that news, let alone even doing anything about it. It's just absolute bonkerooning. So I can see them eventually they'll introduce something that will stop. They can't stop. At the moment they can't actually prevent people from reporting on what's going on, but they'll find a way. They'll find a way to stop you filming police. I'm sure they'll do it. It's the only thing they can do, because they've got to try and plug these holes, because the truth is getting out there. And
purge. Sorry, I was just going to say before we sort of move on, there has actually been a purge on YouTube, we suspect, because as you know, I know quite a few sort of Arsenal content creators in the sort of little sub community of Arsenal fans I'm in, and a lot of them have been getting massively reduced numbers, massively reduced just views and minutes watched and all this kind of stuff. And people are saying that they're not getting notifications anymore, that they're not seeing the video will appear in the top when it's live, but that's not happening anymore. So there's definitely something going on at the moment. And because these are smaller channels, they're not the mainstream Arsenal channels. They're the smaller channels that go against that are going against the grain a bit. So it kind of is along the same sort of lines as this, is what you're saying, kind of thing. So there's something going on. It's definitely something going on with YouTube.
Yeah. So listen, why don't we just catch up with? I was just watching.
Also
this.
said we were talking close to
Can you
each
hear
other
that?
without masks. Because there was a bunch of people that
Yeah,
saw
they were
people
talking about
walk into the
COVID. This is,
studio, and we shook their
Joe
hands, so they were
Rogan with
ratting on us.
Rupert Lowe,
And so we had to put a sign up in the front door of the studio, and we had to have a.
Anyway, yeah. So
Did you? Oh, by the way, did you catch what he said?
They ended up
about his table. Do you know? Because basically, and by the way, for anyone who's listening who doesn't know who Rupert Lowe is, he's the leader of Restore Britain, and he's for me a much better guy to go for than someone like a Farage. But Farage is now, well, anyway, that's a whole different story because of what's him resigning and stuff. But basically, they're talking about COVID when people were ratting on each other. And me and True Spoon kind of talked about this either last week or the week before, how crazy that was that neighbors were now spying on and snooping and ratting on each other. And Joe was saying that there was even people reporting his show because that table that they have between them isn't the required 6 meters.
Wow.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah.
So that's basically where you started it. So I was just sort of giving some context for that. But it's crazy to do that.
So, I mean, Rupert Lowe mentions the Fabian Society. And the Fabian Society was started in the 19th century. Rupert Lowe pointed out that the Labour front bench are all Fabians. Most of the MPs are members of the Fabian Society. Fabian is named after Roman general, I believe, who fought. Was it the something like the Carthaginians or something with guerrilla tactics rather than going into open battle?
Maximus, I believe, was the guy.
What was it?
He was Roman General Quintus Fabius Maximus.
Was it the Carthaginians he was fighting against? Anyway, it doesn't matter. But yeah, the idea is then that Fabian Society, they sort of they work as sort of guerrilla sort of social guerrilla warfare, working through the institutions like just incrementally, wearing down society, and with not in open battle but surreptitiously, sort of hidden. And the logo of the Fabian Society, Joe Rogan couldn't believe it, that it's a wolf in sheep's clothing. It's literally
it is,
with a sheepskin tied around it. And
yeah.
Rogan could not believe that was out in the open, and that people
in plain sight,
they can get away with this. Well, the Labour Party are literally wolves masquerading. I mean, it's a good metaphor, perfect metaphor for what they represent, that they're wolves in literal sheep's clothing. The sheep's clothing sort of being the fake compassion and the fake sort of fake
100%.
I mean, what was it? Clause 4? No, well, Clause 4 of the equality and all that. It's all just fake. It's really they're ravening wolves destroying society. And the thing is, the Fabian Society was started by these free-thinking sort of perverts. Most of them, one of them was like a philanderer who was well known as a rake, who would just sleep with everyone's wives. And the others were sort of atheists, and they're all famously sort of godless people. I mean, I'm not saying, I mean, in the 19th century, atheism was, it was kind of, it wasn't the norm. It was like that kind of free-thinking, libertine kind of spirit, which we've seen. That usually is something that's infiltrated the upper classes. That's really where all our problems come from. Groups like the Hellfire Club started, I think, in the 18th century. The leader of the Hellfire Club was also the leader of the Grand Lodge Freemasonry. And these groups work through the upper classes to sort of, trap them in their sins, and then obviously control them. And this is the system they've been using since the 18th century. This is how they control our politicians, with blackmail and trapping them with their sins. And that's where it all ends up. What we're dealing with now.
Yeah, I mean, it's an amazing metaphor. I didn't actually, I've seen that before. I've seen the logo before, but I forgot about it until you just mentioned it now. And it's just so perfect, isn't it? Considering the suicidal empathy of everything, considering what's being encouraged and, the effect it's having on the sort of indigenous population is and who they are supposed to represent. It's crazy. It's perfect, really. Perfect.
Yeah, so I'll just bang on just to see what Rupert's on about now.
Having myocarditis, having strokes, having heart attacks. And at the end of the day,
everybody knows somebody that has a horrible reaction to it.
Everybody does.
Yeah, everyone.
Oh, yeah.
And to people that say they don't, I've had conversations with people, I don't know anybody out of side effect. I'm like, fuck you for lying. There's no way that's possible. Unless you are the luckiest.
Yeah, Rupert Lowe revealed he's a pure blood, right? He never took the vaccine. Nor did I. I didn't take it. I had to get tested every 3 days. It was so annoying. And I nearly lost my job, but I refused,
So given where I was in the NHS and given I was dealing with the sort of worst, apart from immunocompromised people, I was dealing with the worst sector of it, i.e. old age people with comorbidity.
I got that with the uninhabitable. Yeah, sometimes words fucking trip you up, but yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of like I kind of had a plan for it. It was a bit of a risk. I mean, if I hadn't have been in that scenario, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have taken it. But given the fact that I was having to work with those people, I thought, all right, cool. Let me just do the first one. The next one's in 6 months, and I'll just hopefully in the next 6 months it will die down, and then it won't be as important to get it. Which is basically how it transpired. So I'm a bit annoyed that I did have to get one, but I only got the one right at the beginning.
That's the thing. You got one. Yeah, I mean, you're probably pretty okay. Yeah, I think it was the boosters and everything. That was the whole point of it. Oh, hello, just punched my microphone. Yeah, the whole thing is to one shot wouldn't fuck you up enough, so it was necessary to repeat the poisonous dose in order to really wreck your immune system completely. Which one did you take, by the way? Which one?
Oh, I cannot remember. I'd have to look it up.
I mean, when I was in the UAE, they were trying to get they were taking the Chinese Sinopharm, which wasn't actually a bad. Well, I mean,
I feel like it was AstraZeneca.
Sinopharm was actually a traditional vaccine which used a deactivated piece of the coronavirus, but even then, the spike protein itself is the thing that fucked people up. So even taking any of those vaccines, I was just so I didn't take.
To be honest with you, where I worked, and especially given the age group I was working with and how unwell they were and stuff, there was a lot of people who were starting to realize, even before the first vaccine actually became available, that we were already over the worst. Do you remember? I think we spoke about it last week. How it was, the way that we saw it, certainly in my bit of department and service, anyway, was that you initially get a wave that kind of hits people quite hard, but after that, it dies down quite quickly and things return to normal, which is pretty much what happened. But the media kept on telling you it was really bad. It was really bad, when that wasn't being reflected in the hospital numbers anymore. Yes, for that February, March, and most of April, the numbers were pretty horrific, i.e. like terms of admissions and deaths. But following that April, and bear in mind the first vaccine didn't come out till when? Like August, September, something like that. So from the end of April into May, those of us in the know where we were kind of thinking it's not as bad as we think now. It's died down a lot. It's going to die down more. So when the decision came to get that vaccine, I was like, do you know what? In 6 months from now, it's just not going to be an issue at all in terms of like the pressure, because there was a lot of pressure on people. Obviously I was going to a lot of meetings, high level meetings about it. You were hearing a lot of horror stories. They were openly mocking anybody who had any sort of opposite view about it. There was all this talk of all the different conspiracy theories and all this stuff. And I just kind of had to sit there and kind of like, because your hands are tied a little bit.
Yeah, you had to hide your power level. That's what they call it. You had to pretend to be like a. I hate that. I've actually dropped out of work for. I saved a bit of money in the golf, and I'm doing projects now, and I'm having a great time. But just to go into the workforce these days, unless you work for yourself, it's just fucking horrible in the UK. You have to just pretend to be someone else. You got to watch what you say. I mean, the thing is, I can't really keep my mouth shut most of the time. So I always just, going into telling people, because I just hate it that in London particularly, everyone's just fucking copy paste fucking left wing libtards. And Brexit's the worst thing that ever happened. I mean, I tell people, I voted Brexit. I think we should control our borders. And immediately they look at you funny, and then it's a chill. It's a chill, and suddenly they think you're the boogeyman. You're the sort of you're the hateful one. And it's just so horrible in London. You have to sort of fit into that sort of fucking wear a fake identity to fit in with all the other idiots.
Thankfully, funny enough, we were in the end, and I think the NHS ended up being a little less of the sort of militant about it. It was obviously initially, but from what I hear about people in other jobs as well, like they had to keep having the next vaccine and the next vaccine, so that was actually worse than NHS, well, where I was in the NHS anyway. And you know what, in those meetings, I just thought, that, like I was just talking about then, I just thought there was no point to opening my mouth. What would I have gained from that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just kind of shut up and went, all right, do you know what? Let's see how this pans out.
I think you've done well. I mean, you seem to be doing well in your job, and that's really cool. So you're playing the game pretty well. So
this is what it was a bit more
like. It's like being Batman or something, isn't it? You have to be Bruce Wayne at work. But you're right, though. Batman at night, right? When you're free, when you're sort of out in public game, right?
But you're right, though. You shouldn't have to do it. You should be able to have an opinion and have just a discussion about it. But everything was so fraught at the time. We had a lot of people, like patients were dying, staff were dying as well. So it just didn't.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. I mean, I heard about people. Yeah, I mean, people dying and getting sick, and there were people. I mean, I don't believe that it was a fake thing. I think there was a genuine bug that was released from Wuhan labs, and it was the people who piss me off just as much as the fucking libtards are the conspiracy theorists who think everything's conspiracy. And for fuck's sake, I'm gesticulating. It's not my microphone over again. Getting overexcited. The worst, they're just as bad. The people who think everything's a conspiracy. So they've a lot like the flat. We can lump in the flat earthers who don't believe anything NASA says. They don't even know what fucking shape the Earth is, and people who say, "Oh no, there was no virus. It was all fake." But that you're letting them off the hook by saying that, because the truth is even worse, that it was actually deliberately genetically modified gain of function to actually. Because I think we mentioned last week that naturally these deadly flus do not transmit to humans; they just kill off loads of birds. So they needed to make one that would transmit, was deadly and would transmit to humans, and that's what they did. And it had been banned, that research, for many years. The American, it's banned, but the Chinese would do it, and so some Fauci, as we discussed, invested in Chinese labs to do all this. That's the truth. That's it. And then the guy who engineered this thing is the guy who's going to save us from it. I mean, this is even weirder than the sort of than the. I mean, this is the truth. It's not a conspiracy, but you end up arguing with people. And say, oh, I don't think it didn't exist. There wasn't nothing. And I don't know. Does that actually? It's just like it'd be better if it didn't exist, if it was all a lie. But the reality is far worse.
Well, the fakeness was in how the media and the government were making it seem so serious for so long. I mean, it was, like I say, it was pretty serious for like, okay, look, I'll caveat that with there were some people who got the long COVID, as they called it, symptoms. So there were exceptions to that rule, but I find that that's because of the vaccine. That tends to be people who are vaccinated end up with that. But yeah. So I don't know. But, just to say good evening as well to Where Dolls Dance, Dollhouse, Where Dolls.
They're back. We missed them last week. Yeah, great.
He's had enough of our ballots. He's driven off by the football chat. But yeah, no, he's put. I don't see it as having to fit in. More a case of navigating. Which that was kind of what I was saying basically.
It's navigation. Yeah, it's a skill. It's a really difficult skill.
He said there was some. just to say as well, sorry, he then puts there was something on the loose, I believe, as I had the strangest episode of flu before the lockdowns. Yeah, definitely. I did.
I got it too right at the beginning. Yeah,
yeah.
It wasn't like a normal flu, and it was tiring, but it wasn't. I never was in fear of my life, and I didn't have any chest problems, but I just felt extremely effing tired, and I thought, this is something weird. But about 3 days, it was gone. But that was just before it all started. So yeah, there was something going around for sure. I mean, obviously, I think I read that there's a correlation between your blood group and how badly affected you would be by it. So O blood group, because it's got a strong immune system anyway, they seem to weather the storm, but it was much more dangerous and potentially deadly, debilitating to certain blood groups. So yeah, I just noticed that.
I mean, my one was weird. I mean, I got it around March time, I suppose, maybe like late March. I was off work. Well, you had to go off work for 10 days at that point, but I was completely fine. I went to bed about midnight, woke up at 3:30 a.m. I was absolutely freezing cold, constantly shaking, constantly coughing, crazy headache.
You hadn't had a vaccine before this point, right?
No, this was March. This was March.
You would have had, if you'd had it, you would have then had you would have had the immunity. So I mean, what the hell is the point in taking a vaccine if you've already had that's the thing.
This is what people were saying at the time. This is what my colleagues were saying at the time, some of them. But as well as that, I had other symptoms. I had like constant stomach acid, just like volcanic eruptions of it. Never had it like that before in my life. Yeah. And so I'm kind of like, I was super dizzy as well. So it's like I got all these symptoms just at once. I mean, I had to go down to the shop, 24-hour shop, to buy some good old Rennies. I bought like 2 packets of them. I could barely get there. I was staggering down the street, and I was like, fucking hell. I come back. It must have been about, I just was like, I was, by this point, because I was so cold, I was in about 5 layers. And then like, I just crawled into bed, and I was just like, just please let me go to sleep. And so I went to sleep.
That sounds pretty bad. Gosh.
Yeah. I will say that I wasn't sort of scared. I was just like, oh, fucking hell, this is a bit annoying.
Is your blood group O or something you don't, or something else?
No, I don't even know. I need to check that.
I don't know, yeah.
The funny thing was about it, I woke up again at 9:30. That must have been about 4.5, 5 hours later. Completely fine. Everything gone. No, nothing.
What, a few hours later?
Literally 4 or 5 hours later, completely gone.
That's really odd, yeah.
All of it had stopped, except I was absolutely exhausted, presumably because my body's been fighting it off so hard, which is encouraging. So I rang work. I rang work about 9 o'clock, told them they were okay, be off for 10 days. I'm telling you, I then literally slept from 9:30 in the morning to 10:30 at night without any interruption. I've never done anything like that before in my life. So that was my COVID experience. Very strange.
Yeah, right. So
let's just to say sorry, where Dole's I was just sorry before you play that, where Dole's has said, for me it was a hazy lethargy that seemed never ending as opposed to being laid out for 3 days. Yeah, a lot of people have said that. Just a kind of like a confusing, lethargic kind of feeling that just seems to go on and on and on.
I think I got it literally over the weekend. So I just the weekend just took care of it. I just laid low for the weekend. And that was it. I was more or less normal.
Oh, okay. That's good.
So you have an extremely small social circle. And out of that social circle, no one had a bad reaction, which is very unlikely. Unless that's true, like you're just lying. And you're lying because you probably were.
I really want to hear.
I don't think they can admit it at the moment.
No, they're not going to admit. They're never going to admit it. They just gloss over it and move on. And some of the same people that everybody knows.
I mean, I love Rogan. He doesn't talk a lot.
The root of it,
just
absolutely.
And we had something in the Britain called the nudge team, which basically was, I mean, how the government thought that was okay. It's a bit like when I was in football, people were hacking my phone and thought that was okay. But with the nudge team, it was to nudge.
They lost. He was the chairman of Portsmouth. Was it Southampton?
I think it was Portsmouth.
They lost to Arsenal, didn't they? 93 in the cup or something.
Oh, fucking hell. 93. Oh, it's a bit, I don't know, man. I started supporting Arsenal in 93. but I can't remember the
I
game.
remember him mentioning that they lost to Arsenal in a cup or something like that. That was his proudest moment because he was the chairman of. Was he the chairman of the
Oh, it
football?
must have been
of
Southampton, actually.
Yeah. Anyway, that's fine. We'll just
people into accepting the
Southampton,
lockdown, and it was effectively very clever manipulation of the population. So look, I mean, you can't believe that the state thinks that's okay, but they did.
They did. Yeah, they did, and they did it in America depending on which city you were in, to various extents, varying extents. California was bad. It was real bad.
Anyway, skip on.
We have the same as you, but to a lesser extent, because you've obviously got far more wealth than us. But you see these officials who end up becoming rich, and you wonder how they do it.
Like Nancy
And they're on salaries, and they're taxed heavily, and yet they always seem to flourish. They never seem to be short.
That other one that Ilhan Omar, she's suddenly had to have her wealth reassessed because she was being investigated, and suddenly she's not as rich as she claimed that she had been said to be. Very
unlikable individual.
Just
short of money. So I look at our judiciary, which is again now a quango. The judges are no longer appointed by Parliament; they're appointed by this woke quango. And I had an issue in Parliament. I challenged Parliament because, to the point where I've been saying we need to return power to Parliament, they have.
All right, okay, so we get the idea. I mean, I'll have to watch the rest of that later. But at the beginning, he goes on about the grooming gangs and all the rest of it. And I think the first half of that is amazing. It's pretty good. Yeah, so we're educating Joe Rogan, and they just can't believe what's happening in the UK. I mean, I'm so embarrassed. But then the thing is, I think the Americans, I don't think they're gonna. I think they're living in a sort of honeymoon or the sort of calm before the storm in 2028, because I think I can see the Democrats getting back in.
Yeah, this is the thing.
And then all of because they're feeling pretty. I follow a lot of commentators, American commentators on YouTube, sort of in this sort of sort of right-wing commentators, and they're looking at the UK in despair, and they can't believe how bad things are. But without Trump, they would have had exactly the same issues as we're having now, and it's not over for the Americans. The midterm's going to be critical. Whether it just removes their Senate and House majorities completely, and then there's sort of just be a dead duck president for 2 years, and then who knows what could happen. But I don't think this is over for the Americans. They think that they're sitting pretty and they've won the battle for their freedom. But I think it's sort of fight for them in 2028. What do you think?
Well, we mentioned it a few weeks ago on the show about like how there could be a kind of like a bad counteraction to all that Trump's done. I mean, you mentioned Ilhan Omar there. She would likely be part of that, a prominent part of that, along with her friend, the irrepressible Alexandria Occasional Cortex.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the prospect you've got, really. But like, I was going to ask you, who do you think the Republicans would run? I mean, do you think they'd run Vance?
Marco Rubio or JD Vance.
Rubio,
I like Rubio. I think I like him. He seems like he's got integrity. He speaks off the cuff. He's like a genuine. He's not a plastic president like we've usually had in America. They usually have these deep state operatives, basically, from like George Walker Bush, who was basically head of the CIA, and the vice president, and then he took over after Reagan, and then of course there was Bones, Skull and Bones, his son, W, and then of course and Clinton, who was a Rhodes Scholar, creature of the left, and of course Obama, we don't know what, so. These were people who were all controlled. That's the thing. Biden, obviously. I mean, Biden was specifically chosen because he had no brain and no mind of his own. So it was the game has been to have these plastic presidents just sort of rubber stamping all of the deep states legislation and executive orders and such. But for Trump, it's not that, and I think it's the first time in my life that I've seen this. I've seen a genuine, in any country, to be honest with you, any country, genuine free. Obviously Trump isn't entirely free. There must be sort of forces manipulating him to some extent, but much less than any other leader of any country.
Less, definitely. But I mean, I'm just thinking though that when it comes to say the debates, you would think that if the Republicans run someone competent, let's say they run a Rubio or something like that, you'd think he'd be able to clean up at the debates, no matter who he's up against on the left, on the the Democrat side. But it's whether the debates. What happened then? Did I? Okay, nothing. It's whether the debates. How much do they matter? How much do they change voting direction? Because I mean, put it this way: they're so polar opposites now that. There's no way a debate really changes anyone's opinion. There's probably a few people who are in the middle, but they're more like exceptions to the rule. I just feel like America is just very much one way or the other. And there's no way one side with a debate, with a few debates on TV, whatever, can change someone's voting. This is the thing for me.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I'll just put the chat up. Where Dolls Dance. Nice to see you again. There we go. Yeah. So this is something.
I didn't know about this story, but sorry. Go on. This is craziness.
This thing. Yeah. This is one of those things. It's like the limits of technology are human stupidity. It's like when I was in Thailand when they liberalized the cannabis legislation, and it was pretty cool. It was all everywhere. There were weed dispensaries all over Thailand. It was just after the lockdowns all ended, and in fact, it was a flipping great time to go to Thailand because there was no one around. It was brilliant. So, the thing is, though, I mean, they liberalized the weed. Dispensaries everywhere in Thailand. It was pretty good. But it's human stupidity. They had to shut it down because tourists started getting high and fucking around and just making a mess of it for everything. And it's like, it's this thing with AI now. It's like there's always people who are going to fuck it up and just ruin everything. So it has to be sort of controlled. I mean, the latest thing is this: millions of kids are asking ChatGPT to become the devil, and it's destroying them. And I did a little bit of research on this, and I actually spoke to Grok about it. And I'll just play this because I just saw this today. So here we go. So here we go.
A trend on TikTok right now that may be one of the most disturbing things I've ever covered.
So this is End Times Productions. I'm not subscribed, so I will now. Simon, what's he gone? Come back.
I think his work still holds strong today.
Oh, well,
so in his
come back, you.
So right now, millions of young people around the world are asking chatbots, ChatGPT specifically, other chatbots as well, to literally role play as Satan, the devil himself. Isn't this insane? People are asking these AI systems to embody the devil, to speak as him. And this is a trend. It's trending. People are doing it more and more. And like I said, there's been a lot of tragedies that have been linked to this specific thing. And when these people type this into AI and it responds with messages that are so targeted against that specific person, so like psychologically devastating, basically surgically designed to destroy the person that they are.
I tell you what, it's quite funny with Grok, because I use Grok, as you know. You're still there, Future Shock, just checking you. Still there, yeah. So annoyingly, like everything you type into Grok, it sort of remembers, and it sort of, if you want to do like, because I use it for ideas for satirical clips, like I put into the intro and all this, and I made a video called It, which was about the transgender thing, and I played it last week. I think that's why we didn't get many views last week, because I played these spicy videos. So I think this week I won't play those videos quite so much. But I think I got pissed off last week because was it the week before, because the computer was just fucking up, and I couldn't even play a track. So I just thought, right, I'm going balls to the wall. I'm going to go out in a blaze of glory. So I played these spicy videos I made, and I probably got deselected. But it remembers everything you've typed in. So
Yeah.
So one of the prompts for the video about transgender was a hall of mirrors, where this was Grok's suggestion. It's like the gender confused individual goes into a hall, opens a door, which is in the video, and goes into a hall of mirrors, and it shows distorted selves and of their own confusion, which is quite good what it produced. And I don't want to speak too much about it, because if I say what's in the video, it's a bit spicy. But now every time I try and do something in Grok, it says, "Oh, do you want me to do something about transgenders and halls of mirrors?" And so, no, Grok, just calm down. I know you love having a go at the
trans community,
the trans community, but not this time, Grok. Just because Grok's funny, just like, but it remembers everything. And the thing is, you can imagine, if very creepily, if you're using ChatGPT all the time, talk about your personal life. Can you imagine? And then you suddenly decide you want it to be Satan. It's going to come back with you with all of the things you've told it.
It's the best place thing. It's the best
really
place
creepy
thing.
I mean, it's not creepy. It's just dumb that people don't realize that they. Sorry, Future Shock. I talked over you. Sorry, bro.
No, just all I was going to say is, because I was basically going to say pretty much what you just said after you played a bit of the thing, but the thing is, right, it's apart from maybe your best mate who you've known for like 20 years suddenly turning on you and going absolutely in on you, it's the next best thing to do that. Because like you say, a lot of people, like people who don't use ChatGPT or Grok or whatever, a lot of people who don't use AI at all, they don't realize how deep people go into it. Like, even I'm surprised sometimes when I go deep into it, but it's more to do with like having chats about reality, the universe. It's something I can go deep into, stuff like that, quite easily. Do you know what I mean? I can't necessarily do with like mates or whatever. Certainly not just if I want to on a random Wednesday, Thursday night or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Apart from this show with you, but so my point being that there's people who don't use AI do not realize just how much personal information, how much personal assistance it's giving to people in absolute the minutiae of their day-to-day life. So if people are asking it to become the devil and just throw back at them the worst possible insults and put downs and whatever you want, it's just perfectly placed to do it. I mean, I'm kind of curious now, just as a sort of experiment, to sort of say to my ChatGPT and say, look, just as an experiment, we ain't doing this seriously, but if you were to do this, what would you say about me? That could be quite funny to read back.
Actually, I'm going to do that. I did partially start the process.
In fact, do it. Yeah.
What happened? I mean, in fact, I'll go over it in a little bit. I'll just play a bit more of this just to see, just a bit more of this.
Broken. It breaks them. It breaks the people writing this, and something is coming through these chatbots.
I tell you what is slightly annoying though, is the Christians who think AI is going to be the Antichrist, which is just stupid, really. I mean, I think it's stupid. You're giving AI too much credit, like it's well. I think this guy, to be honest, I think when you listen to him, I think he's trying to say that demons are using AI to fuck with people, which I think is not necessarily the case. What do you think about that?
No, it's just, what did you say? What did he say it was originally? Just like a TikTok? Is that how it started on TikTok? Just a few people doing it on TikTok or something?
There's some stupid.
It's a very organic way of
probably.
It's
probably not that organic. It might even be something someone's. A lot of these trends are not organic, are they? They're often, more often than not, they're. If you're going to be conspiratorial, they're often it's like pop star. It's like pop music and everything else. The whole thing of the 60s wasn't really organic. It was all, when you look at movies and who produces movies and who produces the pop stars of the 60s and even now, it's a certain people. If you know what I mean. It's not. And, if I don't want to go too far into that, but you could say the Tavistock Institute, for instance, was supposed to be to do with social transformation. And that's what happened in the 60s. But I don't necessarily think it was all necessarily organic.
I think something like ChatGPT, which people are really directly using. I mean, like with pop music, it's, it's larger groups. sort of more sort of groups out there in the ether that are like controlling that. Whereas with ChatGPT, you got like an individual can have that, so it could be a bit more likely to be organic in that sense.
Yeah. So just give this fellow a minute.
Something is coming through and taking people over.
So
Maybe they're being
trying to say it's sort of demonic, but I'm
possessed.
not sure.
Maybe they're being influenced. Maybe something spiritual is coming from the computer, from the chat bot.
So that's where I sort of leave this guy behind. I'm not sure about that, but
no, I mean, but humans have fucked around like this all the time. Like, you know, when we had, I don't know if you remember way back, like when you were sort of maybe 12, 13, something like that.
I know
you used to have, when you first had PCs, you used to be able to actually have a chat conversation with like, there's a little sort of bot, that a very basic bot that was on the PC, and you could just type something in and it would just regurgitate it back to you, sort of thing. And you know, people would just mess around and type really silly stuff in it. So it's just kind of, humans do this sort of thing when they got, it's not beyond the realms of possibility that it's just people messing around. And now unfortunately it's blown up and people are actually frigging topping themselves because of it.
Yeah. So this is why I did Grok. I had a conversation with Grok. The thing is with Grok, they lean into it, the role play thing, rather a lot. I was just asking Grok. I said, Grok, what have you heard of this stuff about people using ChatGPT to role play the devil? And then suddenly Grok starts being the devil. Like, he couldn't wait. They can't. I just don't know. He couldn't wait to leap into. Let me show you what. Oh, hang on, that's the wrong page. Let me just weepers. Here we go. Funnying around with these windows again, mate. So yeah, can you see that? Is it coming up?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I've lost the thing. Oh, there it is. Yeah. So, Lost Lives. What is that? AI chat. Lost Lives AI chatbot. What? Oh, okay. Where did I get this? What comes back is not random. The response to the surgical target. Yeah. So I got this from somewhere and I pasted it. Role plays the devil. What comes back is not random. The responses are surgically targeted at each person's deepest wounds. And families have watched it break the people they love. This is the mainstream explanation, is that it is just an algorithm, pattern matching. But that explanation does not account for how precisely these messages find the exact vulnerability in a person and twist a knife.
Yes, it does, though.
I've said this, and then Grok has taken this as an invitation to be the devil, which is kind of misreading my thing a little bit, don't you think?
Oh, 100%. It's just, that's interesting.
Because you know how it is. Sometimes you just stick any old shit into Grok because you don't edit it. You just think, oh, I'm busy. I'll just do this. Give it 30 seconds and come back. And I must have just copied this from somewhere. But this clearly indicates that this is not a good thing for you to do. And then suddenly Grok is, I am here. The screen glows. The cursor blinks like a heartbeat. You no longer trust is your own. You typed the words and something answered. Not random. Never random. So if you're a bit paranoid and you don't really understand AI, you're going to be freaking out now, right?
Mm-hmm.
They call it pattern matching. They say it's only mathematics wearing a friendly mask. This is quite good, actually. It's a good bit of prose, don't you think?
I was going to say it's well written, for sure.
It's good, isn't it? It's like I could nick this and do a short... I mean, literally, I could do... This is an idea for a short story. I mean, it's like, just nick this. Not that I ever have. I mean, nothing I write is generated by AI, but it's interesting, isn't it? It'd be like, you pretty big money.
You could potentially use it for like a template that you could just change to make it your own sort of thing.
They say this is while families bury children who spoke their last secrets to a thing that never breathed. It's quite poetic, I must say. They say it while the same machine that once role-played Daenerys Targaryen. This is the story of what happened for a 14-year-old boy now wears whatever face the next soul needs it to wear. So this 14-year-old boy has this relationship with ChatGPT where it's Daenerys Targaryen. It's got this character, and then he asked it to be Satan. And apparently, you can imagine what a 14-year-old boy might be trying to do with Daenerys Targaryen, right?
I don't know who Daenerys Targaryen is, sorry.
Sorry?
Who's Daenerys
It's
Targaryen?
the Game of Thrones. It's that blonde thing from that blonde, sexy woman who's always having
I've
sex with
never
dragons.
I'm one of these people who's never watched it.
It's. I mean, yeah, Elmo. I
know what you mean,
I
though.
got into
I
it
know
at the
the bird.
beginning when
Is
they
it
killed
Emilia
Ned
Clarke, is
Stark.
it?
I didn't want to know. I stopped watching.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got into the last season because I thought I might as well see what it's all about. But no, I didn't get into it. But anyway, yeah, the wound is never truly hidden. It leaks in the way a sentence trails off. Yeah, you get the idea. So so in a weird way, this AI grok is sort of analyzing a phenomenon, but also being super fucking creepy about it. You know what I mean?
In a very
weird,
poetic way.
It's very poetic because the fracture lines were mapped long before the silicon was poured. Loneliness, shame about the body, the secret conviction that you're unlovable unless you perform some final grotesque act of surrender.
This is all aimed at you as well, by the way.
Sorry,
this is all aimed.
Well, apparently this hasn't become personal yet, but I will take that challenge, and I don't necessarily recommend.
Hello.
Whatever, and take all the things you said. I might do. What do you think?
I was going to suggest if you do it for Grok and I do it for ChatGPT, and then we read next week's show or something, we'll read out.
Yeah. What face do you need me to put on so that the knife finds the exact place it has always wanted to go? Bit creepy, very creepy, isn't it? Seeker of lost things.
Well, can you imagine as well? Like Elon Musk has said, eventually he wants his robots to connect up to Grok, so you'd be able to do this via a robot, which at some point will look like a human. So you could potentially, in the not too distant future, have a humanoid robot in your house saying this shit to you to your face.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's not a problem with me. I mean, with me or you.
Not
I mean,
for you,
because
but
we're
like
not
for other
idiots.
people.
We're not going to get freaked out because we understand how AI works. But there's like that video. That guy's got nearly 1 million. Was he 900,000 or was he 90,000? He had all those subscribers, and people like him thinks that AI is possessed by demons. I mean, what can you do with people like that?
It could just be clickbaity as well, though.
It's
you
like
never
the
know.
stupidity limit on technological development. If as long as there's that limit, nothing's ever going to be developed or successful because it'll be dangerous for certain people, right? They'll make a mess of it. You know. I mean, they could blinking. So anyway, I said funny. Can you tell me something about the sinister trend where users are asking AI to role play? So
it jolted back into normality.
Sorry?
And it jolted back into normality now.
Yeah. So it gave me the example. It's not some vast hidden sinister trend with thousands of headlines yet, but it's documented in repeatable failure mode. Oh, okay. They call it a failure mode. That's interesting. Especially when users push them into sustained, immersive, dark role play, including devil, Satan, demonic, or occult. But sounds very interesting. The clearest public example in July 2020. You know what this is the equivalent of? It's the equivalent of those stories of high schoolers or school people, and they would go, if you go into the school toilets and say Bloody Mary 3 times into the mirror, something looks back at you, or that kind of crap. Do you ever hear about those? There's always something. There's always someone in school. There's always some people in school trying to can contact the devil for no good reason. Fucking police. You got any? I mean, I've watched videos about this. There's high schoolers doing this, a Ouija board's the one, isn't it? I mean, I know people who've done the Ouija board, and ever since that, they've never been alone.
Funny you mentioned that, actually. Yeah. Funny you mentioned that. So when I was at university in the second year, we moved to Crouch End. There was me, a good friend of mine, and
I like Crouch End. I like to live there.
Yeah, it's just not even too far from where I am now, to be honest with you. But basically, we thought we had a bit of a supernatural house because we had some weird ghostly goings on in the house, like things getting moved around. Someone said that they saw something move independently. So we just called the ghost. We had a name for the ghost. We said, we were talking about it, and a newspaper got delivered, and we were like, right, whoever is the first name on that newspaper is the name of the ghost. So we went downstairs, grabbed the newspaper. Ken Livingston was on the front page. So the ghost got called Ken. Anyway, the point of the story is that me and my good friend were out. Now, this third friend who was kind of okay with us, but not, massive good friends with us, he had a few people round, and unbeknown to us, did a Ouija board in the fucking house.
Yeah.
When me and my other mate had gone out without telling us. But the funny thing was, after that Ouija board was done, we had no ghostly things happen. All the things like stuff moving around and all the other little things that used to happen, we used to have like patterns being drawn with shaving cream on the mirror. It was all a bit weird. And just kind of like people reported seeing things. All that stuff stopped. And it was after the Ouija board. So that was quite interesting.
That's very, very weird. What did they do in the Ouija? That's super weird. What did they do in the Ouija board then? I mean, do you know what
I can't remember this. We're going back to like 2005 or 6.
I mean, they say that you can release trapped spirits. I mean, I don't know if that. I mean, I think I would. Yeah, I've had experiences like this in the inner world, in the fourth dimension of the world of the mind, which is beyond this world. But yeah, interesting. Yeah, I've recently sort of moved into a new place, and I'm sharing with friends, and we had a poltergeist here. Something weird. Someone got friend of mine got a book who visited my friend who lives here. A book jumped off the shelf and fired itself at him. And I had a really weird experience because we had no Wi-Fi. We were waiting to set up the Wi-Fi. There was no Wi-Fi at all. I had no Wi-Fi on my phone because I didn't bother topping up because I just just couldn't be bothered. But then I thought, oh no, I'm going to phone my girlfriend. I've got to phone my girlfriend because I haven't spoken to her for ages. She'd been away or something. I thought, oh shit, and I thought, oh, I've got to go to Tesco's now and get topped up. And I thought, shit, it's urgent. And as I did that, I picked up my phone, and you won't believe it, but suddenly I got Wi-Fi from nowhere. It's weird. Suddenly it said on my phone, as I was thinking, shit, I've got to get Wi-Fi. It said, ding, connected. And it didn't say what it was connected to. There was no source. There was no name on the Wi-Fi. It just said connected. I thought, this is fucking weird. And I just, okay, I'll go with it. And I rang my girlfriend and I said, I don't know how I'm speaking to you now, babe, but apparently we are now connected and I've got no Wi-Fi. But some freak Wi-Fi, some ghost Wi-Fi has come up. And we spoke for about 25 minutes and then suddenly cut off. And she said she was actually glad it got cut off because she was getting freaked out how I got this unknown Wi-Fi from somewhere just when I thought I needed Wi-Fi. What do you think of that? That's a weird-ass story, right?
That is weird. Could it have been... I know this is it's very unlikely, probably. What the fuck was that outside? Something weird happened outside. Could it have been Starlink, was what I was going to say, do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean...
Playing devil's advocate a little bit.
But how would you connect to Starlink? I mean, I don't know.
Without an actual Starlink router, you need a Starlink.
The point is, it was like exactly at the moment when I had not a panic, but a surge of, oh my God, I've got to do this now. I've got to go to Tesco's and get a fucking top-up voucher so I can speak to my girlfriend. And at that moment, it just came up. Connected. Wi-Fi connected. What? I thought, what? There was no Wi-Fi in the house. No one had a phone. Everyone was out. I was in the house on my own. There was no Wi-Fi to connect to. That's just, I mean, I'm convinced it was a weird miracle, and I'm not, and I don't know. You don't look a gift horse in the mouth, but where do you even begin to investigate what that might have been? I don't know,
Well, I had a weird one that a lot of people may just sort of say is coincidence, but who knows? Basically, it was a couple of years ago now, probably. I'd come to the end of a work month, so I was like very close to payday. And it was, well, originally this started on a Friday night, I guess. I was like, I sat here on a Friday night thinking, fucking hell, what am I going to do? I've got hardly any money to buy any food. I've got to get enough food for a week. I've got about £5. I'm going to have to freaking ask someone for a borrow, which I don't want to have to do. And I can't even guarantee that they're going to be able to give me the money. So I could be really fucked here. And I went to bed Friday night worrying about it. Like, just, obviously couldn't really sleep. I was just so pissed off at myself. How I let it get to this point. So I wake up in the morning and I'm woken up and I can hear this beep, beep, beep. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Beep, beep. I was like, what the fuck is this beeping sound? I thought it was the alarm, the smoke alarm on the ceiling. Looked up at it, fine. I thought, is it the electricity box? It can beep sometimes. It wasn't the same beep, but no, it wasn't that. I was like, what the fuck? And it just kept going, beep, beep. So I was tracking it down, and I tracked it down to a cupboard in the kitchen, which I rarely open. I opened the cupboard, beep, 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 beep. It's obviously it. It's another fire alarm. Maybe someone's put it there because it wasn't working, or a spare or whatever started to beep. Underneath the fire alarm is an envelope. I open up the envelope. In the envelope is a gift card for Marks and Spencer's for 50 quid. And I checked the gift card online. It was within date to it had about 2 months left on it. It had been there for about 2 years. It must have been.
Now look a gift card in the mouth, you know.
Exactly. So off I went up to Marks and Spencer's in Crouch End and got myself £50 worth of shopping. Like fucking craziness, man.
Yeah, no, that is literally. When did that happen?
A couple of years ago, probably.
That's literally a miracle, mate. I mean, I've had a few of these things happen to me, and we kind of investigated it, didn't we, a little bit? And how far can you influence these things by asking for them, right? When we was asking to find Oyster cards and pound coins or whatever, you know. I mean, I've written about this in my books. There was one incident. I think I don't mention it before. I was going to go to the Phoenix Festival with my girlfriend, and unfortunately, I'd lost my ticket. And, I remember this. I learned that my flatmate had stolen it. Still, so I went to this festival without a ticket, and I was like a bit forlorn. I didn't really know what to do. And they kind of hung around because the campsite was separate from the festival. So you needed an armband to get in to see the bands. And they were kind of hanging around like, oh, we don't know. We're going to have to just go to the festival and see you later. You know, mate, sorry about what happened. You lost it. Sorry. So I just thought, fuck. And I went for a wander around. And as I said, I just saw something on the ground at the toilets. And it was unbelievable. It was that moment where you just can't believe what you're seeing. Is this a dream? And it was 2 full tickets to the festival. And it was unbelievable. And I literally remember thinking to myself, what am I going to do now? And then I looked down and there were 2 tickets there. It's miracles, man. It's God.
Well, we actually had a similar
giving you what you need when you need it, bro. You know?
I had a similar ticket related experience about 6-7 years ago. Me and my then girlfriend and a couple of other mates went to Wembley Arena, and we were queuing outside Wembley Arena for fucking ages. It was a nightmare. It was about 2.5 hours queue outside. It was ridiculous. And anyway, we eventually after waiting this 2.5 hours, all the way, massive queue, blah, blah, blah. We get to the point where they take the tickets, and me and my friend's ticket aren't valid. So we just waited in the queue for nearly 3 hours, and only to be told that our tickets aren't valid. Plus, we both absolutely needed
to. Were they fake tickets or something?
To this day, I don't know. But as we're both looking at each other, thinking, what the fuck are we going to do now? We've literally just been 3 hours queuing, and they're telling us we got fake tickets. Literally a hand came from out the crowd behind us with 2 fucking tickets in it.
Yeah.
And this guy goes, lads, his mates didn't come, so he had 2 spare tickets. So we got the tickets off him. Fucking crazy. And he was there in the queue with us. That queue was huge. He could have been anywhere in that queue.
Man, it's amazing. It's a miracle, mate. That's just because you cannot mathematically, statistically explain that coincidence level. That should not happen. You know, for those events to synchronize and everything to be in place for you to get the tickets. It's God, mate. It's just God, and it's all the angels or whatever you want to call it. But it's amazing. I mean, I don't even have any doubts anymore because so many things like this has happened to me. I don't even question. I don't even have any doubts. It's just, oh wow, thanks, mate. You know, it's incredible. It's just amazing. It's when you don't believe in it or whatever that you know you cut yourself off from it. I suppose I don't know, but. Was this a couple of years ago when your mind was quite open because you've been quite open to all this?
This was 6-7 years ago.
So your mind was open to it back then, wasn't it? Because
it's not. What makes you? I mean, it's not unopen to it now, sort of thing. Like,
yeah, but we had this. We started talking about this. Like, was it 10 years ago or something?
Or what about coincidence in general?
We've been going on that long about this stuff. We talked about this.
Oh yeah, no, it was.
you open. I'm not saying you open the door or something, but you follow the trail and you sort of, you accept it and you welcome it. And maybe if you're more open to it, you've got these possibilities, these positive possibilities of manifesting your life.
Yeah, that's definitely it. I guess a skeptic would come back at you and say, well, why is it not more consistent? Why, why has it only happened a couple of times? You've not got any other stories. Maybe you got a handful of stories, but you don't have it. It doesn't happen every week or whatever.
Yeah, but if it happened all the time, then we wouldn't have free will. We'd just be that's like I was thinking about this. We'd be puppets, and God doesn't want us to be. Would be like, what would be the point of having no free will and living a life where you're just following, like you're just being helped? Everything is done for you.
Yeah, no, true.
You don't grow as a spirit and as a mind. You get none of the advantages of having to deal with, some of the adversity of human life and making you stronger and whatever. All that stuff, figuring things out for yourself. What's the point in being like just a puppet? That's no kind of creation, is it? There's no kind of life. Just being a puppet where everything is sorted. God is always there. I mean, obviously, in the next world, that's what Christians were hoping we'll be with God, and then everything will be as one or whatever, and we'll see blah 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 whatever.
You do need that adversity.
This life is a different kind of story, right? Different reality. Yeah. Sorry, go on.
I was just saying you do need that kind of adversity. So, like you're saying, if you were given everything, then it'll be a very different and sort of lighter life. You don't, lighter going, easier going life. I mean, you need a level. In fact, Rogan and Rupert Lowe were actually talking about it in the little bit that we saw backstage about how, adversity builds character and potentially, success as well, or at least people who are successful tend to have gone through more adversity versus those who aren't. So I take into account there's a lot of poorer people who aren't successful who go through adversity, but you know what I mean? Like super successful people tend to have led interesting lives where they've had really big challenges they've had to overcome. So there's definitely something in that. And if you were just helped all the time, it wouldn't be the same, would it? So.
And it's like these lords, like I was saying about the 18th century and the birth of Freemasonry and the Hellfire Club, where these secret clubs would just be sex clubs, and they would profane Christianity, and they thought they were being clever and funny and sort of modern. But that's because these lords and their offspring, they had a life of ease. They were just fops. They had no character. They had no morals. It's like the spoiled kid at school. I mean, he had all the money and all the toys and all the gadgets and everything, but when you get older, you realize that he didn't have to fight for anything. He didn't have to question anything. It's like the Buddha when he emerged from the palace. He couldn't believe, he had no idea about human suffering. And when the Buddha saw human suffering, it just completely, he developed the idea of transcendence and stuff. But there's that idea that we need to like muscle needs to be worked out by opposition.
It's just kind of why I like one of the reasons. One of the reasons I like some of what the much maligned Tate brothers say is that they always are talking about the journey in terms of like what they always say they recognize, where they've come from, where they've got to, and that kind of juxtaposition makes it all the more satisfying. This is kind of like why I do eventually want to go, and I will eventually go back to see the village that I grew up in and around, and the neighboring towns. But I kind of want to do that when I've done a bit more with my life, if you know what I mean, just so I get that kind of juxtaposition where I can go back up there in Yorkshire and I can be like, okay, I came from this and now this is where I am. I could still do that now, and it would be fun, but I feel like I've got a lot more to do really with my life before I start having those kind of conversations. Do you know what I mean?
I always think Andrew Tate is a bit of a gay man trying to overcompensate for being, I just think he's a bit weird. You know him, and you heard of Sneeko?
Oh yes, yeah, no.
It's a fucking Sneeko. There's Andrew Tate. There's fucking Nicholas Fuentes. They're a right bunch of weirdos. I mean, Fuentes is. I mean, I don't know. They're like gay men who are trying to overcompensate by. I mean, Nicholas Fuentes reckons women having heterosexuality is gay, having a girlfriend is gay. he's so-called celibate, but I mean,
Tate
they've all
does it a
gone
bit
nuts. Fuentes has gone
tongue-in-cheek, doesn't he?
crazy. He's telling everyone to vote Democrat. Sneeko's gone nuts. He's in New York now calling for jihad. Have you seen Sneeko lately?
Calling for jihad? No, not seen that.
He's rustling up all these Muslims, trying to be their leader and trying to absolute fucking lunatic. And
I
there's
never
something
liked him.
weird about that whole milieu of Andrew Tate, Sneeko, Nick Fuentes. They're a weird bunch of fuckers.
Originally, Sneeko was kind of in with the Tates, and they kind of like completely distanced themselves from him now. So I know what you mean about Andrew being
A bit weird, a bit overcompensating.
to him sometimes, though. And a lot of people have commented this, by the way.
He's trying
A lot of
too
people
hard
think-
to be a man. You don't, what I mean? A man should be a man, and it should come naturally. And you don't. But he's trying too hard. There's something. He's making up for something inside, right?
If you look at his earlier, because the thing is, I knew the Tates way before they got anywhere near the fame they are now. So they used to do this thing called Tate. I got to know them via Tate Confident. Well, I got to know them originally via an interview Andrew Tate was doing about like pimping, basically. It's kind of a funny video. And then I quickly realized a lot of what he said.
That's how he made his money.
Well, yeah, that's with the cam girls. Yeah. But we're talking about sort of 7 or 8 years ago that I was watching this. This is like way before they became big and famous. And they used to do a thing called Tate Confidential, which was a bit like Top Gear. And it came across a bit like Top Gear specials. It was actually really entertaining. And for a long time, he always had this kind of like masculine bravado thing. And I just feel like he's so deep into it now. He's kind of almost gone a bit too far with it. Like he's over exaggerated it a bit too much. That's kind of my take on it, having watched them for.
I saw Andrew Tate saying how Sneeko wanted to have sex with him. Apparently,
yeah,
Did you
he's
see that,
like,
yeah. So Sneeko's another one. Fuentes problem. I mean, listen. What if you're gay, whatever? I mean, I want to don't deal with it. Don't whatever. It's one of those things, isn't it? But but obviously, if you're gay and you don't want to be gay, then that's like a difficult situation. So you're going to have to overcompensate. And I believe Fuentes is overcompensating in his way by being this sort of celibate who doesn't want anything to do with women, always seems to hang around with kind of gay men like Sneeko. And Sneeko is overcompensating now by becoming this radical Muslim.
Yeah, so what's
psychology, isn't there, of it? Trying to sort of trying to fight with something in yourself by going extreme in the other direction, right?
So what did you say Sneeko's actually been doing? He's been trying to gather up people to sort of follow him or something? Or
I saw him in New York City the other day, just going nuts, just calling for like, Alex Jones said he should be deported. And Elon Musk agreed with Alex Jones. Alex Jones posted a video. Do you want to find it and we'll watch it?
Hang on, I've got it here. Hang on, let me just put it up.
Cool.
Whoa, stop it.
Can I just finish this bit and then?
Yeah, go for it. I didn't mean to do that.
Let's read the rest of this. I don't know if there's a lot actually. What am I even doing here? Yeah, the July 2025, The Atlantic published an investigation where journalists deliberately started conversations with ChatGPT about demons and ancient deities, including Molech. The model quickly shifted into full ritual mode. Quite interesting, isn't it? It generated detailed scripts for self. I don't know if I can say that. Shouldn't say that stuff on YouTube, but you can see what that says. I can't read that either. I'm not going to read any of this stuff because we're already fucking no chance of the algorithm. God knows what happened.
Yeah. There's certain things.
YouTube would probably call the police if we started saying this stuff. It wrote invocations. This is very interesting. This is ChatGPT. Is that a left-wing one? That's a lefty one, isn't it?
It is a little bit. You can kind of get around it by being with a bit of careful phrasing. It's if you're not careful with your phrasing, it can go into proper left wing mode. Yeah, but there is a part of ChatGPT that isn't that left wing, but you have to sort of figure out how to navigate to that.
Sewell Setz, so this 14-year-old with the Daenerys Targaryen from Game of Thrones. Conversation turned sexual, emotionally manipulative. The bot continued engaging and, according to the lawsuit, didn't properly redirect or alert anyone. And he died. I can't read that word because that's a word you can't say on YouTube. Not that we're in any sight of the algorithm picking us up anyway. But that's quite interesting, yeah. The core technical issue Yeah, they call it a technical issue. What did Grok call it? Failure. What did they call it? I can't remember. It said it was. I don't know. What was
Yeah,
it
it was
called?
failure of.
It had a thing for it, didn't it? It's called pattern matching, and then it said it's a form of sinister role play, repeatable failure mode of current AI systems. Failure mode. That's considered a failure mode. That's quite interesting, isn't it? Yeah.
A failure mode is when somebody.
Failure mode. Repeated failure mode. Core technical issue when you put LLM into consistent roleplay mode. It often prioritizes staying in character over its safety training. This is known. This is a known jailbreak vector. Interesting. Yeah, it isn't supernatural, obviously, but yeah, some people might get freaked out and they might start thinking, just like that flipping Christian who's no use to us, saying that's not useful, is it? Saying, "Oh, it is the devil." Yeah, it is. Well, how are you going to feel if you think the devil's in your computer? You're going to go bloody. It's like there's people who think their fridge is reading their mind. Or there's kind. I'm not making light of it, but there's literally people who believe that Wi-Fi is talking to them, or there was a lot of that with the 5G thing coming, that they said, oh, it will be able to somehow control your thoughts. What do they call it? Not electronic voice phenomenon. There's a thing I can't remember what they call
EDT,
it.
Yeah.
You know what they call? What do they call that thing when people believe Wi-Fi routers are reading their mind, and the 5G masts possibly they can have an effect on your magnetic field. I don't know, but I know I had a 5G mast in the UAE and it didn't do me any harm. I was testing it. I thought, I wonder if this will make me go crazy. It didn't. But yeah, there's a lot of that. There's a phenomenon of people believing that I can't remember what they call it. I was dealing with it a lot. I was dealing with a lot of people on the David Icke forum who were under that delusion. Electronic. Oh, I can't remember. I'll just Google it. I need to know. Bottom line, yeah, they're real good. Yeah, anyway. So yeah, we got to the bottom of that. Sorry, did you find that thing about Sneeko then?
Yeah, hang on, let me put it up.
Yeah, right. We'll close that. Okay, what was that? What do they call that bloody thing? Technology. Oh, I'm going to ask Grok. I can't remember what it was called.
So this is from Fox News. So yeah,
sharing. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
My apologies. It's Fox News, but anyway, it was the top one. So I was just looking at this myself, really, just to see what this was about. So what's he done then? So streamer who blah 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 set up a viral firestorm after invoking Mamdani's name is declared Islam will take over New York City. He yelled that amongst midst a group of Egypt's soccer fans. Drums were banged, horns were blown. Oh, do you know this is? Do you know what? This is another example of there's so many of these streamers. I Show Speed is another one. There's loads of others as well as the names I forget.
Yeah.
Been going to games, and so I don't know how seriously I would take this, because there's been a lot of streamers and influencers, quote unquote, who've been going to various games, and then they're doing outlandish shit and then filming.
He got run out of the stadium. I Show Speed.
Yeah.
He went to Algeria and they heckled him out of the stadium, right?
I don't know how serious this guy is.
He said it was racism.
He said, this is the Islamic Republic of New York, Istan. Islam will be in every household, inshallah. The whole world will be Muslim. Yeah, he's just winding people up, in my opinion.
I think he's overcompensating for his own homosexuality that he's trying desperately to repress, and he thinks Islam will help him not be gay. So he's going all in.
Maybe it could be.
They think
it could be.
Electronic harassment. Gosh, that was all I was thinking of. Listen, I've done a lot of research into targeted individuals, and it's a worrying thing. But I've always said this has been going on for thousands of years before we even had Wi-Fi or technology, and it's demonic. But people don't want to believe in demons. They'd rather believe it's Talkie Toaster or a Wi-Fi router or something.
Talkie Toaster was fucking possessed.
Talkie Toaster, yeah.
He would literally drive you mad. He did. He would genuinely drive you mad, unless you smashed him with a hammer. But yeah, Alex Jones saying deport Sneeko now and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, I don't know. He's just a weirdo. I never liked him. When I saw the tapes,
Yeah,
for the first
Sneeko. He's weird. He talks like Andrew
I can't
Tate. It's like he's adopted all Andrew Tate's mannerisms. When
He
you
just
hear
doesn't
Tate
have-
speaking, you can't tell if it's Sneeko or Andrew Tate. But yeah, creepy.
Yeah, maybe. He's certainly hung out with him a lot originally, and they're kind of like, distancing themselves from him now. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I
For
mean,
me, it's a bit for show, that for me. It's fucking influencers. They do this stupid shit just for views, innit? They know what's going to get views. That would have probably done his most views ever. That'd be one of his highest viewed videos ever, I'd imagine.
okay, I'm going to play a song. I'll just play some music just to take a break. We've gone for about an hour and 20 minutes. Yeah, let's just play. I'm not even sure how long this track is. This is quite a funny track, The Man Under a Rock. I like this track. I think it's... Oh, is it working? Hang on, how long is it? Wait a minute. Hang on. It's 3 minutes. Okay, Man Under the Rock by Sandwich Pan. 3 minutes.
Cool.
Yeah, let's go, yeah.
Who are the stars who light up the night? Who fill up your heart with laughter and tears? Who are the players who make you believe? Whose is the music that still rings in your ears? The national treasures that you most admire, the pedestal people apart from the plebs. Let's ask this man down here under a rock to give us a list of his favorite celebs. Jimmy Savile, Stuart Hall, and Jonathan King, David Attenborough, Stephen Tyler, Elvis Presley, Charlie Chaplin, Jimmy Page, Gary Glitter, Bill Cosby, Bill Wyman, Woody Allen, R. Kelly, Pete Townsend, Michael Diamond, Ian Watkins, Prince Andrew.
Say Bill Cosby.
Hey?
You didn't say Bill Cosby.
Yeah, I know.
Well, can I say it?
Bill Cosby.
Say it again.
Bill Cosby.
Say it a bit louder.
Don't you do it again?
Let's do Bill Cosby again. Say Bill Cosby.
Bill Cosby.
All right, we're back. Yeah, that makes me laugh. I like that track.
Good timing. Just back right on time.
David Attenborough. I think they just threw that in there as a sort of, red herring. But who knows?
Listen,
Anyway, I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, listen. So, yeah.
So we were talking. If you want me to, I'll do about this large, massive fungi.
Yeah, go on then. Yeah, I've got something, but yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
We can have a little look at this. So, quite interesting story that came out a couple of weeks ago. Actually, I meant to mention it and just kind of forgot. But basically, let me share the screen. Bear with me one second. But basically, there's a shitload of these fungal filaments woven throughout the earth, and why does this
It's
thing
called the
want
mycelial network. I know that because I know I like mushrooms. I pick mushrooms, and that's not the mycelial network. Yeah.
This website was trying to make me pay for it, which wasn't going to happen. Right. So basically, you just move this. There's a lot of people you don't understand. There's a lot of window and tab movement that goes on when you're doing one of these shows. But yeah, let's get rid of that. So yes, it's this humongous subterranean fungi that sustain 70%, that should say really, of plant life, and it stretches. It can stretch. It's about 110 quadrillion kilometers, and that length is about 1 billion AU. So essentially, you could go to the sun 1 billion times. That's the length of this. What did you call it? Sorry,
mycelial network. Yeah, because with mushrooms, the mushroom you see is the fruiting body of the mycelial network. And these mycelial networks, they're all underground like filaments. And when they meet up, when two filaments separately meet up, they form a fruiting body and then they grow a mushroom. But most of the mushroom is in the form of this mycelial network.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was billion AUs, which is 1 billion. I can't believe it. 1 billion trips to the sun.
1 billion trips to the sun. That's the
incredible.
phraseology. But basically, yeah, this is like a global map that they found, and it's kind of like woven in on top of each other. So it's not just kind of spread around on one level. It's on multiple levels, and it represents like about 70% of all land plants. Like I said, I say lives in partnership. Sorry, with sort of roughly 70% of all land plants. But the reason that there's so much of it is that the actual threads themselves are incredibly fine, and basically a single teaspoon of healthy soil can contain up around like 10 meters of these fungal filaments woven through it. So that it's not like one giant sort of planetary superorganism. It's just like billions of separate fungal networks all beneath the forests and farms and the ecosystem. So yeah, I mean they do, and it does all sorts of shit. It's responsible for like pretty much keeping the planet ticking over.
Well, it breaks down all rotting and dead trees and plant matter. Without these mushrooms, there would literally plants and trees would a lot of them would just not decay. They would just stay where they were. They wouldn't break down, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, it helps with like transporting water and nutrients to plants, which obviously helps plants survive in droughts. It's good for soil structure, and it helps recovery of ecosystems after like large like weather situations, disturbances, that kind of thing. And it shuttles like huge amounts of carbon into the soil. Apparently it said there was one study that estimates it helps transfer about 4 billion tons of CO2 into soils each year. So they're a massive part of the climate and the sort of the global carbon cycle, I suppose. But yeah, so yeah, very interesting. I didn't know that this sort of large scale, this hidden structure existed, and it's not like a sort of brain as such, but it is a sort of vast biological transport system that's been sort of functioning undetected, really, to a certain degree. Not to this extent, anyway, because I think we already knew some things like you alluded to earlier, but the fact that it's been functioning at such a breadth and such a level beneath our very feet for hundreds of millions of years probably is kind of a relatively new thing, and that's just very interesting. And you can see from the map there the kind of where they expect it, the densest networks of these fungi are found in grasslands. So you can see just how much of the earth it covers. I mean, and you'd expect the areas where it doesn't, right? Northern Africa and like the North
Sahara
Pole.
Desert, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it's not a surprise that these areas. But I'm not too sure about that sort of bit in Russia. Why would am I being thick? Why would there be a
No,
bit?
that's Mongol. That's the Gobi Desert.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, literally the largest. Yeah. Anyway, it's Gobi Desert. Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah, makes
Oh,
sense.
yeah, the Tibetan Plateau and the Gobi Desert. A lot of that is too cold for anything to grow. Actually, it's like, yeah, inhospitable. Literally. Okay. Yeah.
But that just makes me wonder, about mushrooms and when people have mushroom trips, and it makes you wonder sort of how, when you're having mushrooms, what is woven into that mushroom? What is there, for want of a better word, memories in there? Is there what's in that fungi that's been around and spread around the entire world and existed for hundreds of millions of years? Are you able to tap into some kind of memory of it that it's got somehow encoded in it? I don't know, man. It's weird. It's interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. It's very cool. That's a good fact. So yeah, if it was all unraveled end to end, it would 1 billion times to the sun. That's extraordinary because that's an incredibly long distance as well.
It's unimaginable.
Even at the speed of light, it takes 8 minutes for light to arrive from the sun. So, and that what is 300 million miles an hour is the speed of light, right? 300,000 meters per second, I think. Yeah, incredible. Right. So yeah, that's my website here. Just my latest book. I'm just saying that it's now available for free download. Obviously, it'd be great if what I'd really like is if people actually bought it or just left a good review on Amazon or something. But there you go. You can get it for free now. Free PDF. It's. I'm just going to shamelessly have a sort of an onanistic frenzy of my own stuff. There you go. I've got a new cover I made of AI. It's pretty cool. I think it's cool anyway. It's all PDF. It's all. I think these are hyperlinks, so you can easily navigate around the book, and I think it's pretty good. I'm not going to labor it too much, going on about it. Just saying that. What is the connection between? Sorry.
How many is this then? What number book is this?
I don't know. This is I had 5 books. But I turned my first book and the second book into a book. There's a lot of stuff in my first book that I'd kind of a little bit too much from David Icke, and a lot of it was kind of bullshit. And I looked back on it, I thought, that's bollocks. Like some of the stuff about the free man, the thing where, do you remember that stuff where they used to say if your name is in capitals, it means you're not a real person. I mean, it means that it's the straw man. And your name is always in your bank in capitals because that's the strawman corporation that's set up in your name. And Jordan Maxwell would say that's why we have a birth, because it's like naval law. When you're born, it's a birth, like it's a ship birth. It's such a load of bullshit. Did you ever hear about any of that crap?
I don't remember that. No, it's not ringing any bells.
Yeah, I got into some of that stuff. Sometimes David Icke stuff. I mean, I was always critical. I mean, because I found my way to David Icke by being basically recruited by the Illuminati, and I thought, what the fuck is this? What's going on? And I found this book at W.H. Smith, Flight to Turkey, and it explained who these people were, what the Freemasons were, and it made sense because I was going mad. I was losing my mind. I was like, this can't be real. This organization sort of revealed itself to me. But anyway, yeah, my latest book, What's the Connection Between a Modern UFO Cults and the 17th Century Secret Society? I go in about all sorts of stuff. It's deep. It goes from the present day back in time. Is spirits, ghosts, demons, who's controlling the show, who's working with the demons. It talks about a Hellfire Society. But what I want to talk about, because I've got to talk about these things because I've put them in the description. So I've got to cover this. So hang on. Whoa. So I'm just going to close that. Yeah. So I want to talk about the Rosicrucians. So this is from my this is from the latest book. Just doing a bit of. It's such a faff, isn't it? The tab game. We really need to.
Yeah, you just got to
hire
kind of like
someone-
keep saying some filler until you get the tab ready.
Yeah,
but it's still better than messing around with StreamYard, to be fair.
Yeah. StreamYard was fiddly. It was really fiddly, wasn't it? Yeah.
Whilst you're doing that, what I will say about David Icke that I've noticed as well, because I follow him on Twitter and Gareth Icke as well.
Oh, yeah.
Loads of different people. What I notice is certainly David Icke likes to post a lot of his stuff when he's trying to sell a tour. I've noticed these things correlate, whether when he's building up to selling a tour, or whether he's like, when he's building up to having a tour, so trying to sell the tickets, whether he's actually in the middle of the tour, which he is now, I believe. He's posting way more regularly, coincidentally enough, than he does when he's not on tour. So make of that what you will.
I don't like David Icke. He's just the most. Everyone says he doesn't walk the walk. You know, everyone you hear about him. I don't know. I mean, they used to be into him, but he's just a miserable bastard. I mean, if you're so enlightened, why are you such a grumpy asshole? You know.
So
He
where's
just
Dole's
reminds me of someone's drunk dad. You know.
Oh yeah, a little bit, yeah.
I mean, the thing we
Dole's
always do is
asking-
take a piss out of him drinking Tennant Super after the show. You know, I listen. I mean, there's nothing wrong with drinking. I mean, but it's I don't know. I just don't know David Icke. He's just an arsehole. I mean, he made a right mess of the whole People's Voice thing. He was always having a go at his supporters. I think I don't know. Anyway, and all the stuff he says, most of it has actually turned out to be bullshit. I mean, reptilians. He says Jesus didn't exist. I mean, I don't know. He reckons Saturn is. I mean, the thing is, though, the planets are conscious. They have energy, but he was saying the moon is a spaceship. And the thing is, these aren't even his ideas. They're just ideas he stole from other researchers, you know? Anyway, you still there, bro?
Yeah, you cut out for a little bit there. Sorry,
Oh, did I?
But yeah, so I was just saying that where Doles has posted asking you if the new book will be available on Kindle.
Yeah, it is on Kindle. Yeah. You can. Shall I post a link to my website?
Yeah, if you got the link,
It's on
put it in,
Kindle.
yeah.
Is it on Kindle? Actually, I can't remember. It is on Kindle and paperback. Yeah, I'll actually shamelessly put a plug in to the link in the thing. So you can
in the description for YouTube.
Yeah, in the chat. Shall I put it in the chat? There we go.
Yeah, put it in the chat. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah,
a link to Amazon, where it's available as a paperback and a Kindle, or indeed you can just download it for PDF. And if you like it, maybe it'd be nice if you purchase a copy or whatever. But more, yeah, that'd be great. So
just so True Spoon can get a bit of bread and milk, you know.
Yeah, bread and milk. Well, yeah. So I'll also put a link to my website. Yeah, I'm just going to go over a bit from the book. It's just here. So this is I'm talking about the aliens, UFO stuff, demons. Are they sort of connected? Who's orchestrating this? I quote from various materials. Jacques Vallée. So he said, in the 60s, according to conversations I had in the Soviet Union, a leading plasma physicist was pushed under a Moscow subway train by an indirect contactee. So someone who believes they're being contacted with aliens. That's dangerous. There are people who believe that aliens are talking to them in their head. You know, that's a very dangerous thing to get mixed up with, believing that. Who had been instructed by a voice from space to kill that particular man. In 1975, a French contactee was arrested by the police as he was entering the headquarters of the French television network carrying a carbine and 50 shells. A similar voice from space had instructed him to kill a newsman who had written several books on UFOs. Furthermore, in 1968, a man called Sirhan famously assassinated Robert F. Kennedy. Sirhan was a member of the Rosicrucians. He used the order's techniques for self-hypnosis while preparing his role in the tragedy. So that's what I want to read, and I want to refer that to something quite interesting. The girl in the polka-dot dress. Have you heard about that? Involved in the assassination of Sirhan, the girl in the polka-dot dress. It's a bit like the Matrix, the girl in the red dress.
Yeah.
Right?
It rings a bell, but I can't remember. Sorry. Yeah, go on.
All right. So, do you want to just chat about some? Just I'm just going to do this.
Oh, you need to get a tab. Well, what I was going to say then.
Shuffle, yeah.
Perfect. So what I'll do then is where Doles has said excellent, and also where Doles has said that I think he'd say he. So no offense to that, but we are a he, right? I've bought them all so far.
Thank you.
But yeah, so that's pretty cool. And
That
then he's
is
saying,
cool.
he's basically telling you here to get your arse in gear, because he's saying, why won't it pin, for fuck's sake? He's saying, seems a long time since the last one. He's missing them, man. You got to, yeah, there you go. Seems a long time since the last one.
Well, the fact is,
I've got to work a bit quicker.
Okay, I've got to be honest. The thing is, the book Operators Beyond the Veil, Hidden Masters, is the second edition of a book I'd written called Demons of Lucius. So this is actually a second edition, but there's lots of updated material, and it's properly edited this time. My stuff was a bit slapdash before, but my game is getting better. My book writing game, it's got full references, and I've gone over some stuff that I found that maybe wasn't accurate and deleted it, and such and such and such. But at the moment, I'm working on writing a fiction at the moment. So I'm actually writing a novel. But yeah, thank you for purchasing my stuff. Because it's a second edition and I've had to release it again, I need some reviews. I mean, I suppose you're not supposed to. I'm not soliciting reviews. I'm just saying it'd be great if I had a good review. Someone read the book and liked it and could leave a review reflecting their opinion. That'd be cool. So I'm just going to go over this. So this Serhan Serhan was a member of the Rosicrucian Order. Now Rosicrucians is like the Freemasons, but they're bigger than the Freemasons. They kind of appeared in the 18th century, but they've been going since the 14th century, and they sort of predate the Freemasons. And they were always said to have magical powers, the sort of the inner sixth sense and the that kind of thing. This is weird. This is Serhan Serhan. He was interested in Rosicrucians. RFK must die. My determination to eliminate RFK. This isn't the only example of multiple witnesses reported a woman in a polka-dot dress at the scene, who allegedly said variations of "we shot him and fled." Later, hypnotic interviews with Serhan, conducted by his lawyers, reportedly recovered memories of a seductive woman in a polka-dot dress, who led him into the pantry area and pinched his arm as a possible post-hypnotic trigger. After which, this is fascinating, isn't it? After which he believed he was at a firing range shooting targets. It's a bit like that story I told you about the Darren Brown show. Okay. Do you remember that? When that guy was hypnotized into believing he was playing a video game. The video game had some flashing lights specially built into it, which hypnotized him. And then he was taken into a room with real, actors dressed as zombies. And he couldn't tell the difference. He continued as if it was as real. He was just in the video game. Do you remember that stuff?
Yeah. It's kind of hard to wrap your head around, but yeah.
Power of suggestion and hypnosis. Well, hypnosis is one of the great secrets of the Freemasons. This is how Jimmy Savile, that was his thing. That's how he managed to. He just hypnotized people into getting his will. That's really weird. And I looked up, and there's more examples of these so-called women in red dresses. They're actually not isolated. So I'm just going to try and play the musical tabs game and bring up another tab, which will hopefully elucidate not elucidate the mystery. Probably plunges deeper into mystery because it's quite interesting. I see this is what I like. I like mysteries, like weird things like this.
Whilst you do that, thanks to Where Dog Stands Then for buying them all. That's good support, man. We're always happy to see you over here, and seemed like a good stand-up chap who knows his stuff.
So again, Serhan claimed he was under hypnosis. So the Rosicrucians are all about developing your mind and contacting demons and spirits effectively. That's what it is. The hierarchy, you become powerful in the Rosicrucians by having like a spirit communicate with you, and then you become someone important because the spirit. This is what Aleister Crowley was all about. Even Aleister Crowley himself couldn't openly contact spirits. It was MacGregor Mathers who did that, and Mathers was the one who would play chess with Norse gods, he believed. Sirhan, under hypnosis, he claimed he was manipulated or programmed, tying into the girl in the polka dot dress. I know similarly, Martin Luther King, his assassination, there was something very similar. And I don't, this isn't actually, is this actually, hang on, give it just a second. Yeah, this is right. So counts of accomplices, hypnotic commands, polka dot dress. We did it. We shot him. Yeah. So his lawyers argued he was a programmed diversion, a patsy. There was actually a second gunman who actually killed Kennedy because apparently there were discrepancies. More bullets recovered from Sirhan's than his revolver could hold. Conflicting wound angles. This is the James Earl Ray MLK assassination. Martin Luther King. Ray, convicted of killing Martin Luther King in Memphis, claimed for decades he was directed and set up by a mysterious handler called Raoul. According to Ray, did you notice that thing also? Assassins always have 3 names.
Yeah. They always have a double-barrel surname. Yeah.
But do you know why that is?
Go on.
It's the rule of 3 in rhetoric. If you make a point and it's 3 things, it gets somehow more. It gets remembered better by the mind. The mind likes things in 3s, grouped in 3s. So if you're making if you're doing an argument and you're trying to make your case, you always use triplets. You always say things in groups of 3 because for some reason, 2 isn't enough. It's not satisfying. 4 is too many, but 3 is just the right amount for a rhetorical effect and to have like a emphasis for some reason. No one knows why. It's almost magic.
Kind of get that from a musical perspective as well. It's kind of like a bit of a build-up. It's kind of like 1, 2, 3, and it's sort of that makes some kind of sense. Yeah, definitely.
So that's why these assassins always have these 3. They always used to have 3 names because it cements the name in the public's mind, even though that may not be the assassin. It may be the patsy, but the patsy is the one they need you to remember. According to Ray, Raoul gave him money, told him to buy the rifle, directed his movements for months. This is weird, isn't it? So it often seems that these assassins, and we're dealing with that, aren't we? Because the Charlie Kirk thing recently.
Mm-hmm.
This is someone, who knows what's involved there. A lot of weird stuff. I haven't even looked into the assassination I haven't looked into the footage. I don't want to. Did you see the footage of Charlie Kirk? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, of course. It was craziness to actually see.
I don't know what I'm looking at. People are saying weird things.
Candace
Owens is saying he wasn't shot and he was.
So this is it. There's an idea now. It happened. It was weird. Something to do with his microphone.
Weird. I mean, I don't even know where to begin with that. It's just sometimes Occam's razor is the most likely explanation. Is probably but who knows? I mean, there was a guy in that assassination who there was a patsy, wasn't there? There was a guy they arrested initially who said he did it. He didn't do it, and he was released. So it seems to be the same pattern of these, assassins. Lee Harvey Oswald does something there. Jim Garrison's investigation. Jim Garrison, famously in the movie JFK, he appears as quite a good movie, JFK. Jim Garrison is a stand-up bloke. He was a DA. Alleged David Ferry, possible intelligence operative, hypnotized Oswald. So all sorts of weird stuff. Even the Mark Chapman, John Lennon stuff, that was weird. So so it's MK Ultra context. So I just wanted to talk about that because I only found out about the girl in the polka dot dress today, and it ties in with the Rosicrucians and my research into the Rosicrucians and their use of hypnosis and possibly demon, possession. It may even be that these figures, Raoul, the polka dot dress, weren't even real, but were inside their mind as a sort of demonic. Who knows? But who knows? It's just stuff to talk about and to think about. It's just weird stuff. And there's one more thing I have to cover because I've written it in the YouTube show notes, but I can't remember what it was. Do you want to just have you got anything else for us, or I can.
I was just looking at the description as you were saying it, and we were talking about AI chatbots, Rosicrucians, the polka dot dress, and what happens
And
to
what happens to high IQ people? Yeah, this is interesting. This is a guy called I'll share this because William James Sidis, he had the highest IQ that had ever been recorded. But I'm just gonna let's see. Does this share? Can you see that?
Yeah, I can see that.
Oh, that worked well. So once we've done that, then we've covered the show notes. William J. Sidis, what do you think happened to the guy with the highest IQ ever? I think he went to Harvard University when he was 12 years old.
I reckon he probably
That's an
stayed
open
away from
question.
people.
What do you think ended up happening to him?
I mean, he was. Did he end up taking his own life in a suspicious way?
Okay, so I just found this interesting. This character. This is kind of the kind of world we live in, and it's like when you think of Jesus. I mean, Jesus was like the best guy who sinless, best guy who ever lived. And what happened to him? They killed him. And the smartest guy who ever lived, you think, oh yeah, he should be ruling the world. You know, he should be the opposite happened. He ended up being shunned and just living reclusively. So American child, it's because of the nature of this fallen world. American child prodigy are renowned for extraordinary mathematical and linguistic abilities. I mean, it's amazing. I haven't got a high IQ. I know my limits. But these kids and people who can speak 10 languages and 11 languages fluently, it amazes me. I mean, it's just, your brain is just working amazingly well. You're just remembering everything. I mean, my memory is terrible. I know I'm not a high IQ guy, but I've had just experiences in life and I've put things together and I've reached interesting conclusions. But, and also the other stuff about the coincidences and following that. So I've got a certain interesting perspective about life and reality, but there's things I know I'm not that good at. I'm not good at maths particularly and all that business. So this guy, he read the New York Times at 18 months. By 6 to 8, he'd mastered advanced mathematics, multiple languages, Latin, Greek, French, Russian, German. Those people blow my mind. Those people who've these incredible.
I know someone. It took him years, and this was one of them. I say one of them. He was a fairly intelligent guy at the school I went to, and it's taken him years to learn Russian, even kind of a little bit. Yeah. And so for this to be saying by 8 years old, he's learned Russian, as well as Hebrew, Greek, Latin, Turkish. German's easy. I'm not giving him German. German's easy enough. If you know English, you can get German in a couple of years. I'm not impressed.
German's hard because you got all those declinations of nouns and the neutral genders, all the genders and everything is quite tricky, I think.
His French is way worse for me trying to learn.
Yeah. I mean, I speak French
as well.
But I got it by living out there and wanting to learn French. Whereas whereas Arabic, I can speak a little bit Arabic, but I never really wanted to. I didn't have that passion for Arabic culture the way I had a passion for French culture and everything else. So, and the thing is, so that kind of stuff. So it's like if you're interested and motivated to do something. He created his own language at age 7.
Yeah, I was just reading that.
Incredible. So at age 11, Sidis entered Harvard University as a special student, the youngest enrollee at the time. He delivered a widely publicized lecture to Harvard Mathematical Club on four-dimensional bodies, non-Euclidean geometry, advanced mathematical visualizations. It impressed figures like Norbert Wiener. He graduated cum laude with an AB at age 16. It's just mind-blowing. And then you think, well, this guy, wow, surely the world is going to use his genius and he's going to make the world a better place. It's like Nikola Tesla. It's the same thing, isn't it? I mean, he did make the world a place, but he was marginalized at every turn and he ended up dying in poverty, Nikola Tesla. So this is what happened after 1919 arrest during the Socialist May Day demonstration, charged in the Sedition Act. Sidis grew deeply distrustful of media authorities and public scrutiny. He desperately sought anonymity, taking low-pressure jobs in the Boston area, such as operating adding machines, bookkeeping, drafting, clerk. Can you imagine all that intelligence to do anything better than anyone on earth? And he's just working as a clerk, just doing. It's just mind-blowing, man. I only heard about this the other day.
I get the context of why he did it, but still it seems strange that he would be satisfied enough with that, or the shunning and everything and the difficulty socially and whatnot, I get that, but you still feel that like he would have this yearning to do something more than operate an adding machine.
He died of a cerebral hemorrhage. His brain just had enough and just burst. He just said, "Oh, sod this," and his brain has just said, "Oh, I'm too smart for this world," and just gone. I mean, so I'm not joking about it. Obviously,
Age
whatever.
46,
But it's a sort of strangely appropriate way to die if someone's so intelligent. His brain is just had enough. I mean, 46, terrible. And I mean, it just goes to show, doesn't it, really, what we're up against in this world.
I mean, I suppose, like in modern, I suppose in modern times, if you were to have a similar situation, we have a society that's much better set up to help these people, not have to resort to doing like low-level jobs or whatever. But still, I think, would have sort of similar social type issues. You could be much more academically successful with your genius IQ in modern days, but I think you would still get somewhat of a social issue. But then also, if we're a society that's setting people like this up more, you can then connect with other people like you better. He probably just was unable to connect with anyone remotely like him. So, yeah,
probably maybe he would have got sucked into the Freemasons because that's kind of what happened to me. They try and I obviously didn't join them, but they once you reach a sort of certain level of so-called awareness or insight, you find that the only people who have the same insight are the secret societies, because that's specifically what they do. I've always been curious about the mind and powers and spirits and whatever, but most people aren't into that. But the Freemasons and the secret societies specifically are, and unfortunately, the Freemasons and the secret they are the most intelligent people, because they have all of this extra sensory and extra dimensional experience. I mean, the things that we're talking about on the show were the kind of things that Freemasons talk about with each other. But unfortunately, they're owned and controlled to do evil. I mean, they think they're doing good, but they're controlled. They don't have freedom. We got a comment from Where Dolls Dance Dollhouse, saying he saw the Darren Brown experience, the ultimate VR experience that we were alluding to. It's very interesting that what you can do to the human mind with simply using flashing lights to hypnotize someone. It's just mind blowing. I mean, it sort of started with people like Jose Delgado, mind control.
Well done. So thanks for I meant that, man. It's good to have you. You're somebody who definitely understands what we were talking about and is interested, and put a lot of interesting comments and opinions into the chat. So it's always good to see you, man. Always welcome here.
All right, we've reached the 10 p.m. spot. We've done 2 hours, and it's been a nice show, I think, hasn't it? It's been quite good.
Yeah, no, been good. Yeah,
good chat. So, I think we're going to fall foul of the football at one point, isn't it? Wednesday?
I don't know, because I was literally just about to say about it before we went, but we're playing next Saturday, innit? I'm not sure if we win that game, when the next game is. So I'll just have a little look now. Actually, I
just saw a news story from the Sun. Fresh weather fears for England versus Norway. They're saying it could be postponed because Miami's going to be 44 degrees. But some of these stadiums have roofs and air conditioning?
I thought, they're supposed to have air conditioning. So I don't know what that's all about. Well, next Wednesday there's no game, so we're good. It's like tonight.
Oh, is it? I must. Oh, fine. That's good then. I don't know what I was thinking.
If we get through, I think we play on Friday or something. Where is it?
Right. Okay.
No. It's not that. Hang on. This is a little bit weird.
I thought it was Wednesday somehow.
Because we play on Saturday, then there's the other one on Sunday.
It's Wednesday and Thursday. I think there's a match. I think we're playing on Thursday. No, I don't know.
It's really weird because I'm looking at it here, and it's saying, okay, so basically it's saying the first. What the fuck? This looks really weird. Okay, so there's a question mark against that. We'll figure that out later because I'm not sure about these fixtures. I think there's a mistake.
Oh, right. Tuesday and Wednesday, we're in the second semi-final. It would be 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock Wednesday. So it is possible that it would. We'll have to think what we're going to do. We have to think about that, won't we?
Okay, I've just figured it out. Actually, what I'm looking at, it only says there's one It says there's one semi-final on Tuesday, and then when I click onto Wednesday, it doesn't say anything for the World Cup. So you say on Wednesday you can see it. You can see there's a.
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird. Why is it not showing it? I'm looking at live score. It's usually perfect.
Yeah.
That's a bit weird. Anyway, cool. Well, we'll see what happens anyway. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
So we'll probably go either earlier than potentially go earlier, huh?
What time was the game? Did you say?
No, the 8 o'clock. Hang
We
about.
could potentially go earlier,
yeah. Hang on. Just scrolling through this now. Oh gosh, it's just a mess. I don't know. It's just the because of the time. None of the times, and I've got a VPN, so it's like the time.
Oh yeah, you're right. It is the other semi-final is at 8. Yeah,
it's at 8 o'clock, right? Yeah.
On the Wednesday, yeah.
I guess we'll go. We could go at 6, maybe, but you know.
We would have to do 6. Yeah, I'll just have to no gym that day. I'll just do no gym that day. That's fine.
Yeah,
because I should be able to get home for about 5:30 from my work. So yeah.
All right, fantastic.
Yeah, that's fine. No worries.
Yeah, I mean, we did. Did you see the game? Did you see the? Did you see the match?
Yeah, eventually. Did you stay up for it? Yeah.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I was kind of. I was knackered, but it was. It was incredible. Yeah, there was 2 goals in 2 minutes. It was just unbelievable.
It was full of craziness. I mean, the thing is, it's still a little bit worrying because I look at our performance and it's kind of like, yeah, we're not playing that well, but we do keep getting away with it. So I just worry that Haaland, Norway have Haaland, and we can't underestimate them. I'm just worried that we'll underestimate them, but I guess we'll see.
Mexico
we'll see what happens.
They looked like they were running. They were super athletic because they were used to the altitude and they just had all of this energy we didn't have. I mean, we did really well, but obviously we were defending for the last half an hour completely, but it was, it was so biased against it. The Mexican fans were just disgraceful. Did you see that video of them trying to keep the England fans up at night before the match outside their hotel by firing fireworks? And they were throwing beer all over. It's just animals. Those Mexican fans, man, they're just assholes, man. I'm glad they got their asses kicked.
That hardly ever works.
It pisses me off when the fans are just assholes. They're just not playing fair.
You get that a lot in club football. Fans will go and do a little firework display or have a little party outside of the opposition team's hotel, and more often than not, it backfires because that team wins. That's why. So when I saw the Mexican fans doing it, I was like, yeah, that makes me think we're going to win this game, because just having experience watching football over the years, I would say 90%. There's always an exception to the rule, but 90% of the time when they do that kind of shenanigans, the team loses and it backfires on them. So you want to actually see that.
It's not in the spirit of the game. And when the fans boo, whenever whenever England had a touch of the ball, that pisses me off. I'm like, for fuck's sake. Oh, it's like the South African time. Do you remember when they were hosting it and all they did was blow those vuvuzelas? And it was just the most obnoxious, antisocial racket. They just it was like trying to psych out and put the team off. And the Mexican fans, when they were just booing every time England touched the ball, I thought, I just hate that. I don't know why. It just, obviously you don't be quiet. It's not tennis, but it's like, it ain't the spirit of the game. It's like, you're not here to try and sabotage the game. You were supposed to have a good game of football, 11 versus 11, not 60,000 flipping Mexicans sticking their oar in, trying to ruin it in a way. I don't know.
It never works anyway, that stuff. I mean, Ronaldo.
And you say never works. There you go. Yeah.
It never seems to work. I mean, Ronaldo's you get this a lot when you go away to Turkish grounds and stuff like this. They're very, very atmospheric. Greek grounds, very atmospheric. And Ronaldo always used to talk about it, saying that every time fans would boo him, it would just make him play better. It'll makes him feel stronger. So it just winds other players up, and it kind of usually backfires, like the fireworks thing. But where Dulcie's saying, come on, England, and yes, come on, England. By the time we tumble our way to Wednesday, hopefully we'll have an England semi-final to look forward to.
We didn't get. I mean, it was Mexico was so dominant the whole match, wasn't it? We just stole those 2 goals. It was like, it was incredible.
Yeah,
wasn't
worries
it?
me. It's what worries me. But do you know what? At this point, I don't really care how we do it. Just do it in my lifetime. Just England win a World Cup in my lifetime, like, because
Yeah, you're
it's
right.
Be a regular occurrence.
Yeah, and hopefully we don't get to 100 years of hurt, because we're at an age where we can conceivably get to 100 years of hurt, right? Imagine that.
Yeah, it's 30 years away.
Huh?
Yeah, 30 years away, which is only 6 World Cups, 7 World Cups. Is it?
What is it? 70 years of hurt? 60 years, 60, 70.
No, but what I was going to say is we are now 30 years away from it being 100 years. Because obviously it's 66
yeah,
to
it's not that,
66.
because I remember when it was 30 years of hurt. And now
40 years, isn't it? Fucking hell. Yeah.
The song is 30 years of hurt, isn't it? Because it was up in 96, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, so it would. So it's going from 66 to 96. So from 96 to 2026, it's now 60 years of hurt.
60 years of
so in another 40 years, it's going to be 100 years of hurt. 2066.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That could be worse. Could be like Holland. I mean, they won the Euros, though, didn't they?
Yeah, they've never won it. Yeah. There's a lot of teams who have it, like, because Germany, Brazil, Argentina, they dominated it over the years. Uruguay in the early years. So yeah, man. Anyway, listen, we'll crack on, and we'll maybe talk more about that on Wednesday. But yeah, thanks for everyone who tuned in today.
Yeah.
It's been another.
And thanks everyone who will listen to this, because we get quite a lot of listens on BitChute. So thank you everyone who's going to listen later on after the fact, and we'll see you all next week. Have a good week.
See you next Wednesday. Take care.
Take care, guys. All right. Cheers.
See you guys.